After a 128
It's amazing when you start playing the right players.
to 95 victory
You know
over
how
the Houston Rockets.
You know how good that Houston defense would be if Clipper could shoot free throws? Yeah, about 150 points a game.
128-95. Shaq is here. Charles is here. Kenny is here.
Sometimes the team just beat you. And Reggie had one of his three things for the Rockets to get back in this series. The Rockets have not competed at all this series, going back to game one. And they came out the same way in game two, and they've obviously got mauled the last few games. But that's probably been the most disappointing thing for me.
Lack of competition and effort, on the defensive end, which you saw in the Dallas series, honestly. But the biggest thing is, I keep hitting this dead horse, but when you go to a hack of anything, because the Rockets have three guys in Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, that can't put in the game at the same time either. So all of a sudden, you foul Jordan, but you have in the game Capella, Prigioni, and Costas. So even when you get the ball, you can't score.
Take me back to the Houston drawing board now for Game 5 in your gym.
Well, one, they got to have better concentration, better defensive effort. I mean, their front line can't guard anybody. Their guards are terrible. That's why DeAndre Jordan getting these easy lob dunks. Like, he's not even really part of the offense, but he's getting 6, 7, 8 points on lob because defense can't guard people, and they just got to come out and just play. I know you bleeped out those analytical stats, but these guys are awful.
I have a question for you.
You have a question for me?
Yes. If you're guarding the Clippers, what would you do?
Guarding the Clippers?
Yeah, you're good. You're the coach now. What would you do?
I would, no.
Okay. What would you do on pick and roll situations with DeAndre Jordan?
Trap it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my point. You have to still.
Chris Paul's got to be the guy that you got to cut off the head of the snake.
Yeah, but
I would have said that scouting report was
if
there.
you double Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, if you throw him the ball, he's not going to do anything.
I'm sure Kevin McHale had those things on the board.
They had a great point today. I think the refs screwed the Bulls, giving them a free timeout.
All right, thank you. That was it was an interesting post-game stuff that you heard from Damari Carroll yesterday, that Budenholzer had put him back in the game for that last possession, and then he said he was physically not comfortable.
Probably was tight
going in, and so he wasn't in there because they asked him after the game, and now you hear what they say now about.
Let's be realistic. With 7 minutes, I think I saw the final score. With 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go, they were down 20.
The reserves put a 17-0
But I'm saying, like, coach probably thinking this game is over. So he got his reserves in there. They tie the game up. And that 7 minutes, you don't know how long it's taken. And do you want to put a guy who hasn't played in probably a half an hour, you want to put him back in there cold?
I'd have to look at the play-by-play, though. I think he had him in a possession or two before that, however. Well, Carroll had been back in the game. I mean, if he's your best wing defender, don't you have to have him in with the game on the line right there?
I would say if it was Tony Allen, I'd be like, okay. Or if it was Dwight Howard for a block shot or DeAndre Jordan. But Carroll is a good player, but I don't think he's reached the status of he needs to be in the game when key moments are there. He's playing really well for the Hawks.
He's having a great series.
Yeah, but he hasn't reached the status of he needs to be in the game. Kobe Bryant would need to be back in the game as a wing defender.
He doesn't look like a guy that's timid out there, so he must have been, like Chuck said, either tight or really hurt to say, I'm uncomfortable to be in there. I mean, I don't see. And also, I think this is a non-story. First of all, I got to take my hat off to the Hawks for coming back. But I got to give the Wizards credit for building a 20-point lead.
Without John Wall.
That was the story. And also, I got to give some love to the Hawks because I actually turned that game. I was like, because I actually went to visit my mom and turned the game off to drive to see her. And then on my way there, I said, let me see what the final score of that Wizard game was. Chuck's been saying this all year. Me and Kenny really didn't believe him. Yes, they can be beat up
on the inside. But when you have exceptional shooters that can pull you out of any situation, and we've seen them do it time in and time out. In the New Orleans series when they was down, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they hit unbelievable shots. But right now, they're getting beat up inside, and their shots are not falling, and it seems to me they're facing a little adversity.
For Shaq, for Kenny, for Charles, this is Ernie Johnson. We will be back tomorrow night with a dynamite doubleheader.